welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're tackling something, well, it's a pretty staggering paradox, really. We're talking about
Yeah.
Boeing,
Yeah.
a company with this immense valuation, like $104 billion. That's sitting alongside years of damaging headlines, accusations of reckless oversight, and tragically links to hundreds of innocent people dying.
Yeah.
This makes you ask, how? I mean, how are they allowed to kind of get away with this? Especially when it's about public safety, the value of human life. That's really the core question for this deep dive.
Yeah, it's a really heavy question. And our source for this, Boeing's reckless oversight, it really tries to unpack the reasons behind this resilience they seem to have.
Okay, so resilience, what's the
Yeah.
first layer here? The source calls Boeing a critical duopoly-level defense and aerospace titan. What does that actually mean in terms of, shrugging off consequences?
Well, it's more than just having like one main competitor. It's about being almost irreplaceable. Think about it. They're basically two giants making these huge planes for, well, everything. Global trade, defense. So even when one hits major turbulence, pardon the pun, they're still seen as just too vital,
Yeah.
too essential to actually fail. It gives them a kind of shield, a unique one.
A shield.
Right.
Right. And it's not just market power, is it? The source points to deep government ties, too.
Yeah.
That sounds like, well, like a safety net.
Exactly. It's not just symbolic ties either. We're talking huge government contracts, potentially significant influence on regulations, maybe even direct help if things get really bad. Governments rely on them for national security, for basic infrastructure. So yeah, keeping Boeing stable becomes a strategic priority, which might mean they're, let's say, hesitant to impose penalties that could really shake the company, even when serious stuff happens.
Okay, so market dominance, government backing.
Yeah.
What else? The source mentions another huge factor for investors, this incredible, massive backlog. For anyone who follows aerospace, this is big. It's not just future orders. It's years of production already sold, right?
You've absolutely hit on a key point there.
Yeah.
A massive backlog means guaranteed revenue locked in for years down the line. It provides this incredible financial stability, predictability. So investors look at that and think, okay, the money stream is secure. Regardless of current headlines or maybe even a dip in new sales, it's a serious financial cushion.
Wow. Okay, when you list it all out like that, market power, government links, guaranteed future income, it's almost chilling how that seems to outweigh the human cost.
Yeah.
The source says this high valuation ultimately comes down to investor confidence and recovery. But recovery from what? Given the tragedies, what are they actually banking on besides just being too big to fail?
It is stark, isn't it? It's kind of a cynical market reality, perhaps. Investors, despite the awful human cost of these operational problems, are essentially betting on Boeing's fundamental indispensability. They figure the economic need, the strategic importance of what Boeing makes, that it'll eventually outweigh these really troubling stories, that the company will bounce back. It's less about hope, maybe, and more a calculation. That global demand and strategic reliance make them almost untouchable by market forces in the long run.
So we've kind of unpacked this really unsettling picture. Boeing's huge economic weight, its strategic position, this deep investor confidence. It all seems to buffer it, maybe even override the consequences of these failures. It's really stark tension, isn't it, between the balance sheet and, well, lost lives.
Absolutely. And that really leaves a critical question for you, the listener, to think about. In this globalized world we live in, what does accountability truly mean when an industry, or even just one company, seems insulated because of its sheer size and strategic importance? Protected from consequences that might destroy other businesses. It forces us to reflect on that balance, doesn't it, between economic necessity and fundamental human value.